Hi, happy Friday. I hope everyone has had a great week and you're getting ready to have an awesome weekend. I wanted to come on here and just do kind of like a channeling, like a freeform channeling, energy check-in, not related to love and romance. Let's start to get the focus on other things. I do plenty of love and romance readings in my pick-a cards, and I'm trying, just in terms of my own journey, and I think with what I can offer you here on my channel, to start to take these sort of like shorter videos in a different kind of direction. I think that that'll be healthier for the vibe of my collective to start to get more of that balance in. So with that in mind, as I've just been kind of like sitting out here, meditating in these energies, feeling into these energies, there's a sense of like a new cycle has started for a lot of people. And it doesn't really bring with it the sense of like intimidation or trepidation about the unknown or starting something new, but it's almost a sense of like homecoming, a sense of you have finally aligned with the version of yourself that is ready to embrace tomorrow, that's ready to embrace new opportunities, that's ready to stop wasting your energy, kind of pouring your energy into circumstances that you can't control, things in the past that have come and gone, or even people. This can be romantically or, just relating to other interpersonal relationships, maybe even your relationship with yourself, ways in which you've been doing all the heavy lifting, you've been doing all the hard work, and people, aren't meeting your expectations. They're not meeting you halfway, or, they've outright just rejected you completely, or just not on board with what you have going on. It feels like you've transcended the need to like explain yourself, to get answers, to provide some sort of clarity. And so this feels like a very healthy new beginning. It feels like the season that you've stepped into, you're ushering in a lot of blessings that are going to align with everything that you've been through in order to kind of collapse a version of yourself, the reality that you were dealing with through that lens. And there's a sense of you're prepared, you're equipped, you've been training for this, you've been honing yourself into this version of you that won't, if some of you've like struggled with imposter syndrome in the past, you've been hesitant to kind of get on board fully with blessings or to take chances, it feels like you're getting ready to step into an experience where it'll come naturally to you, even if it's something that on the surface you might be like, I don't know if I'm qualified for that. I don't know how well I would do in that position. If it's something professional or even just like a life change, like I don't know how I'd acclimate to that environment when I've been used to something so different. It feels like you've shed that version of yourself that is like filled with doubt or had an instinct to kind of second guess yourself in some sort of way. And so with this, it's a very powerful energy of new beginnings. It's almost the sense of you're calling the shots, you have been for quite some time, and a lot of you have come to the place inside of yourself of being able to accept that. Almost like being humble doesn't serve you in this season moving forward. This is the season to kind of just be very open to what will come towards you, and to really, it feels like just trust in your discernment, trust in your ability to gravitate towards things that will serve your highest good, and to just very reflexively know what to reject, know what to turn away from, know what not to experience, what not to participate in. And so it almost feels like some of you might have been working through certain things. Maybe these are like big cycles that you've incarnated into this lifetime to recognize and like break through the chains of those things, or these can even be deeper ingrained patterns like within yourself that you've figured out the code in some sort of way, and you're actively in this process of kind of rewriting that narrative within, which essentially kind of guarantees, as much as anything can be guaranteed, that you've broken that cycle of repetitiveness, of like not looking at yourself, not being able to get to the real kind of root of whatever existed within you that might have perpetuated sort of struggle or disappointments or dissatisfying relationships in life and in love. It's almost like you've transcended beyond all of that by going very deeply inside. And so now you're entering into this next phase with some well-earned self-mastery. You've freed yourself from massive cycles, and it feels like you won't be able to fully appreciate the nature of like what you've done, what you've stepped beyond, or what you're calling into your reality until it's like here in the flesh, until you're experiencing that, until you're like waking up and it is your best life. For some of you, it's like you're already living your best life. The stage has been set. You're already in the environment. All of those moving parts are working in your favor. And it was like the last step was just accepting this part within you that might have settled for less than you deserved before, or didn't like chase after dreams. Again, like inner critic might have been sort of a staunch opponent of anything you were trying to do. But there's a sense of like you've moved beyond all of that. You've come to an understanding about that. You've co-created with spirit very effectively to where your efforts to move towards something better have not just been matched equally by spirit, but it's almost like they've one-upped you in the sense of like, oh, you're determined to choose better for yourself, to do that inner work, to do that inner healing, to call in something better. Okay, you're taking steps in the material world. Maybe some of you went to therapy. You've been doing self-help. You've been doing your shadow work. You've been leaning into your spiritual path, or kind of striving towards, prosperity and abundance, and feeding all of your energies into the things that you can control in this life. Professional momentum, wellness, kind of taking care of yourself in different ways. And it's a sense of the universe has seen this and recognized this, and exponentially there's like a return of these energies to you. All of that effort where you've reached for something better, or you had to become that light in the darkness for yourself. This is the season where you're gonna see that those efforts didn't go unnoticed. A lot of synchronicities and serendipities, it feels like, are going to align you with circumstances that are better than you could have anticipated. Opportunities for you to really shine as the individual that you are and that you've worked so hard to become. And it's almost like whatever didn't work out in the past, whatever closed door you were banging on for a long time until you just decided, hey, I want something else, I gotta move in a different direction. There's a sense of you're gonna see what it means to be like properly aligned, how things just kind of happen effortlessly. Like you're still gonna have to work for things, but it's almost, the energies are so charged that they're like in your favor at this point, because you've chosen yourself when it was the most difficult thing to do, or you stuck with that, you adapted with that kind of mindset of like, okay, I know what everybody else wants, or I know what my trauma or my wounding might have inclined me to do for others, like be a people pleaser, or just kind of dim your light down in some sort of way. But the moment you decided you wanted something more, that you realized your worth, you captured that inside of yourself, and that's translated in your behavior, in your mindset, and whatever you've been doing outwardly or behind the scenes, the universe is really applauding you for that. And so it feels like this is the time where those blessings are going to come in. You're going to feel like, okay, I'm finally in this place of belonging. I'm finally in the right chapter of my life, the chapter where everything goes well, where it's not such a struggle. It's not such a difficult process to kind of figure out, where am I going wrong? What do I need to do better? What do I need to kind of bring into this equation or subtract from this equation in order to clear my energy, clear my mind, clear my space, clear my environment, clear my thoughts, in order to manifest things that are truly advantageous, that are truly beneficial, that affect you. It almost feels like this is sort of building, legacy wealth, not just in terms of money, but in terms of like a richness of experiences where starting now, you're not going to kind of look at yourself as like years that were wasted, or so much struggle involved in kind of even just finding reasons to be grateful, or kind of just holding tight while you need to until other opportunities open up, or circumstances get better. It's like you've transcended all of that, and things are really going to start to go your way. It's going to become very effortless, and it feels like for some, this may relate to kind of ways in which you're supposed to help or give back to others. Like you've been that work in progress within yourself. You've broken through some kind of barrier, some kind of ceiling, some kind of membrane that like kept you isolated from the vibration and the experience of the life that is really meant for you. And so for some, this is going to be, you know, an important kind of season of receiving for you, because it goes into maybe your purpose in this lifetime to help others to kind of go against the grain, go against their kind of instinctual reaction to whatever wounding is within, or whatever they were trained to believe, or, you know, kind of has been taught to them by systems, you know, family systems, cultural systems, the world at large, that might work for a lot of people but doesn't necessarily work for everybody. You're a leader, you're a way shower, you're somebody who has walked that path. You've walked along the way, and now you have become the way itself. And so there's almost something where the universe like wants to spoil you with some degree of abundance, or the experience of like, yeah, your hard work paid off. And it's not just because you are deserving of all of that, but in some sort of way, it kind of is involved with sort of what you're maybe going to be called to do next, or what you may already be endeavoring to do at this point, to like help others, to give back, to be that change in the world that you're wanting to experience. And so it feels like this is, you know, definitely a time to be very open, very, very receptive, very curious, and very excited about different things that sort of grab your attention, opportunities that may present themselves that you weren't necessarily looking for. The idea of spontaneity kind of fits in with this energy, something where, you know, you may get kind of a last minute sort of notice, or an awareness of something, and an instinct within says, just go for it, just go there, do that thing, move in that direction. And all of that is really aligning, it feels like, very beautifully and very deliberately and intentionally behind the scenes, because Spirit has taken note of who you are, what you're about, what you've been focusing on. You're the real deal. You're actually putting in that work, or you have up to this point in time. And so that hasn't gone unnoticed, and it won't go unrewarded. So I want to get just one oracle card to kind of get an additional message about this, see what else Spirit wants to add in about this vibe and this energy right now. Okay, so we've got intuition. Yeah, so the pieces are all starting to align. You're going to be following a trail of breadcrumbs, not to some narcissist door and, you know, wasting your time on things, but it's almost like Spirit is giving you a trail of breadcrumbs to follow to that feast, to follow to that banquet, to follow to that space actually in the material world that is a true mirror, that is a true match for the abundance you've created inside. So you may find yourself at this point kind of disinterested in the things that at one particular point in time might have been very compelling for you, emotionally speaking. You may find yourself just like, I don't want to deal with the past. I'm not tripping about the future. Like, I'm sitting here in the now, and that's enough. That's beautiful. That's okay. That's the right frequency to be on. That's the right range of experiences that you need to have, is just focusing very immediately, because it feels like the messages will come through when they need to. The guidance will come through, that instinct, that kind of gut reaction, that pulse within you, which like compels you towards something, towards new opportunities, towards new, you know, beliefs, spiritual practices, things in the material world that kind of align energetically, vibrationally, or experientially with what you've been doing within the internal work. None of that being an accident. It feels like, you know, if you are resonating with this reading, you're part of my collective, you to some degree or another are spiritually evolved, let's say, more than, say, the average muggle or the unawakened person. So none of that should come as a surprise for people that have been with me here on this journey on YouTube for a while, or even new people that are just joining us for the first time. This is that energy of like aligning with things that aren't just right in the material world, but it's like right for you energetically. It's right for you spiritually. It's right for you as a soul. And so this is the season to really just trust your instinct, trust your intuition, trust that guidance that leads you in different directions or better directions. You know, the messages will come loud and clear. It'll be unmistakable. You'll hear that call. you'll hear that, kind of like my dog barking in the background. It'll be very loud and clear, kind of where you're meant to go towards next, what you're meant to stay away from, what is kind of best for you, what is just going to be a repeat of old patterns that you don't need to waste your time on. So Spirit is going to get very loud and clear with you with beautiful experiences. You've done enough of that heavy lifting. You've broken free of certain cycles within yourself. And so now's the time to really just acclimate to the experience in the here and now, that you might not have everything that you're wanting or everything that you're desiring, but this moment in time, this is your best life. This is your reward. This is your treat. You are deserving of this. You are worthy of this abundance. And there's definitely more in store in terms of beauty and satisfaction and pleasure and joy and peace and light and love in store for you on the horizon, that is different than anything you've known, but it aligns better with who you have become. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.